Psalms 11 verse 3. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Father in heaven, God, as we break the bread of life tonight, we just pray, God, that, Lord, that you would just touch us. God, we pray, Father, above all things, that you would be in our midst. Lord, for without you we can do nothing. And God, we just pray, Lord, that you would just speak to each heart. God, that you would touch each heart. And Father, I pray tonight that this little message, God, would be to uplift, God, your holy name. And Lord, that it would be to uplift your church. And God, that it would be to draw us closer to you. In Jesus' name, amen. You may be seated. If the foundations be destroyed, what can we do? What are we going to do without the foundations? I don't know about you, but I like the foundation I'm standing on. It's Jesus.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's don't beat around the bush. We know that the Bible says that no other foundation can a man lay except that which is laid, which is Christ Jesus. He is our rock.
Yeah.
Amen.
He is our shelter.
Yes.
He is our stability.
That's right.
He is our confidence. He is our surety. He is our salvation.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but I believe, Brother Ernie, I say I don't know about you, but I believe if you're a Christian, that if you're not in the same boat tonight or tomorrow, you will be before this week ends. And that is, and I find it just nearly day by day, that standing on this foundation for the past 30 years, that I find that it's a continual battle, not for me, but there is a battle raging by this evil enemy that the Bible names Satan, that there's this continual battle for him to try to shake us off of that foundation.
That's right. That's right.
And it seems like sometimes there's just smooth sailing, but he never lets up. Somewhere around the corner, there he is, trying to create some kind of turbulence, some kind of disturbance to shake us off that foundation.
Yes.
We got to be aware of it. But here's the wonderful thing. Brother Ernie, I appreciate what you preached this morning. I'm telling you, God loves us. And though the devil rages, we're in good hands. God is not going to let us slip off. The only way that Satan can destroy us and defeat us and to get us off of that foundation is for us to walk off on our own 2 feet, but we're not going to do that. But sometimes, because I want to hang on so tight and I feel that enemy shaking, trying to make some movement, trying to cause a stumble and ultimately a fall, that, Lord, I just want to hang on. But then I realize that He's got me by the hand.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I'm going to stay on that foundation.
Yes.
But as we were sitting there tonight, I don't even know what Brother Ernie said a while ago, but this passage came to my mind. I had to look up. Is it Psalms 49? No, it's Psalms 46. God is our refuge and strength. I'm going to preach on, if the foundations be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? And yes, Satan is out there on a day-to-day basis attacking the people standing on the rock, trying to shake us, trying to instill fear in us, trying to weaken our foundation. But here is a very wonderful passage. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble.
That's right.
Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth be removed. Feel the vibration going on? You can relax if you're on that foundation.
That's right. That's right.
You can be at ease. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled. Have you ever felt like you've been in this guy's shoes? Though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof, he said, we will not fear, because we're standing on the foundation.
That's right.
We're in good standing, folks. We're in the right place. Brother Ernie, we're in the right place.
That's right.
I'm very comfortable in my salvation tonight. I'm very comfortable with the captain of my salvation tonight.
Yes.
But I'm also very aware of how precious it is to be on that foundation.
That's right.
We're in 2017. I didn't intentionally think about it, but we are starting a new year. And who knows? You know, you just never know what tomorrow holds. You never know. Personally, I'm looking for better days.
Yes.
I bet you, I'm not going to ask for a raise of hands, but I bet you, if I asked tonight, everyone here, would you like to see something better? Would you like to just feel just a little bit better? Different troubles, different concerns, different sorrows, different worries. Honestly, I'm looking for better days in 2017. And I don't know what lies ahead, but God does. But I'll tell you what, if there's worse days ahead, it's all right. Because I'm standing on the rock.
Amen.
It's all right. It's all right as long as we're on that foundation, we're safe and secure. Lisa asked me today when she was fixing them peanut butter cookies, do you have a song tonight? And I said, no, nothing, not really. She said, well, I've just been kind of tossing back and forth. I said, well, what are you tossing back and forth? She said, what was the other song?
Living Praise.
She said, don't face tomorrow or live in praise. I said, don't face tomorrow's it. That's it. That's the song. And we don't have no idea today in January the first Sunday night or second Sunday night in January of 2017, what 2017 holds for us. My prayer is that, man, there are better days. There are some wonderful, glorious, blessed days ahead of us. But if there is trouble, if there's issues in 2017, I know that as long as I'm standing on that foundation, and I am, and I pray you are, and I believe you are, it's what, 18 degrees, and look at us here tonight, gathered together in the house of God. Whatever is facing your future, if it's good or if it's bad, God can handle it. You're okay. You're going to be all right. I assure you tonight that there is nothing bigger than God, that there is nothing too difficult for God, that there is nothing that will overwhelm God in your life.
Amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God.
And so she said, don't face tomorrow. And I said, that's the song. That's the song. Because I sure wouldn't want to face 2017 without God. I would not want to face this year without God. What if it's going to be a blessed year? What if things just go real well? I don't want to face it without my God. God has been so good to me. If He gives me a blessed year, Lord, I don't want to spend one day without you. Lord, I don't want to try to enjoy one moment of it without you, without walking by your side, without holding to your nail-scarred hand. I thought, you know, if something was to happen, I could not imagine, Lisa, I've got a ticket to go to Europe, and I'm going to be in Paris for 3 weeks, provided that there's no attacks going on. It used to be, you talk about going to Paris or talk about going to Europe, and it was like a glorious thing. It was like a wonderful thing. Now it's like, boy, you're living risky. But I could not imagine telling her, hey, I'm going to have a good time, and I'll think about you every now and then, and I'll see you when I get back. I'll take pictures and I'll show you. There's no way in this world I could go.
That's right.
And I feel the same way about God.
Amen.
But I'll tell you what, I sure wouldn't want to face it without Him in the bad times either.
That's right.
And standing on that foundation, I won't be. We won't be. Whatever we have to face, I've heard this in a rearview mirror.
That's right.
1 year farther away from the ascension of Christ. And it's 1 year closer
Yes.
to His return.
Yes.
We are today 1 year closer to the return of Christ. Whenever you see a freight train coming down the tracks at full steam, and it's got about a half a mile long of cars behind it, fully loaded, you know you're not going to stand out there and stop that train from coming. You're not going to stand in its way and stop it from coming. We are 1 year closer to the return of Christ, and ready or not, He's coming.
That's right. That's right.
Ready or not, He's coming. When I think about it, and my heart's pondering on it, and it's meditating on it, and I feel the Spirit of God, I look forward to it. When my mind gets distracted, and I get busy with other things in life, and somehow that flash crosses my mind and makes me look around, wait a minute, am I on the foundation? It kind of catches me off guard sometimes. Ever caught you off guard? I want to make sure I'm standing on rock.
That's right.
One day the mountains will shake. One day the earth will be removed. And when they had spoken these things, while they beheld, He was taken up. This is in the book of Acts, chapter 1. I'm going to read just a couple of verses. And He was taken up, and a cloud received Him out of their sight. This is the ascension. We're 1 year farther from it. Seems like a long time ago. One day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day. It was but yesterday. It is but the night that passed by with God. Life is like that, isn't it? I'm 54. It seemed like yesterday I was 34. I mean, I look in the mirror sometimes. It kind of creeps me out. We are changing. I used to just like, I don't envy the elderly. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not saying that as often as I used to. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as He went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as you have seen Him go into heaven. You know what those angels were telling the disciples? We'll get back to this given talk. If they had been with Jesus, the story how that Jesus went and said, come follow me. Come follow me. I'll make you fishers of men. Come follow me. We know the story of all the miracles that Jesus performed. We know the story of the gospel that he preached, of the mercy and the compassion and the love that he spread, and even of his debates and battles with the Pharisees, and how that they had persecuted him, and how that they had rejected him all the way to the cross. Hindsight's 20/20. These men are with Christ before they knew what we know today. These men were in the moment of it, and it was hid from their hearts and their minds during this time, and they see their Lord crucified. But then they hear of his resurrection. And now they see his ascension. I believe that they were puzzled. I believe that they were puzzled at his persecution. But I know that they were puzzled at his crucifixion. They were deeply disturbed and troubled. And then they were confused at his resurrection. They seemed like, can it be true? We feel like we lost it all. We have heard. They ran to the tomb. And it was true. They don't really understand what's going on, but now here Jesus has come back and now he is ascended. They're standing there. Jesus told them, tarry ye at Jerusalem. Wait for the promise. They're really not sure, and so there they are. Long story short, I think they're standing there gazing. And you know what I think the angels were telling them? Besides giving them the hope and the promise and the truth of this same Jesus, which you see taken from you, shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go up into heaven. He's coming back. But you know what I think? Another underlying thing that they were saying? Jesus' job was finished. Yours is just started.
That's right.
Get to work. Get to work. Come on, let's go. Why stand ye here gazing up into heaven? And immediately they returned, just like Jesus told them to Jerusalem. And they prayed continually in prayer until they got word from their captain. They're standing on that foundation. That rock was Christ. They were standing on that foundation, and that foundation was to follow the words of Christ.
Yes.
We don't know what our future holds. We don't know. Just like the disciples, I think that they really just did not know what to do at that point. But they were standing on the foundation. And God told them in due time what to do. But they were there. They were sentinels. They were on guard. They were prepared. They were waiting for the command, just like Jesus asked them to do. They were standing on the foundation. God spoke, and they went to work. They laid a foundation. On this rock I'll build my church.
Right.
How many's on the foundation tonight?
Amen.
How many standing on the rock tonight?
Yes.
2017. You ever look back and had regrets in life? I mean, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say, I have no regrets. Well, in one sense, I believe we can all say that in one sense, but I also have to be honest. I have to be honest. I'll look back and sometimes I have regrets. There's things that I wished I would have done that I didn't do. And then there's some things that I did that I wished I wouldn't have done. There's things that I wished I had said that I didn't say. And then there's things that I wished I hadn't said that I said. I try to learn from my lessons, though. I mean, I can beat myself up over with guilt or with feeling like I failed when maybe I didn't even fail, but I am my worst critic. But I think that well, as we're going into a new year, I had a little note written down here. No matter what your past. I heard this one time. I don't know if it's a preacher. You know what I'm saying, don't you? No matter what your past is. I have some regrets. I mean, I can't even name them all. Nothing's even come to my mind, but I have some regrets. I want to go into 2017 and come out into 2018 and say, you know, I have no regrets for that year. That's been a good year. I didn't mess up. Will I do that? I don't know. Maybe if I can just take it one day at a time. But sometimes, though, I can look back over my life and I can think, man, you should have turned left there when you turned right. You should have kept going straight when you turned right. You should have done this. You should have done that. But you know what? I tell you, God is a loving God, and God don't want to beat us down. God wants to help us, and God wants to help us make the right decisions. God wants to help us to turn this way when we need to turn this way. And so, but no matter what your past is, now this is just kind of, this is not a Bible verse, but I heard a preacher say it one time, no matter how marred your past is, your future is spotless.
That's right.
Y'all ever heard that? No matter how marred your past, your future is spotless.
Yes.
Foundations. I was reading, I got on the internet. You'd be amazed what you find on the internet. And I got on the internet a few weeks ago and was looking at Free Will Baptist Association minutes. And historical, I mean, it's stuff that they have scanned and is available on the internet. And some of that was just some of the most heartwarming things to read, dating back to like 1919. Zion Hope, they've got them going way back to, I think, in the 20s. But I was reading one, it was 1977, or 76, which was about 40 years ago. And it was preached at Lamb Free Will Baptist, which is just south of Waldron, out there by Turkey Track, Bluegrass. It's out on Highway 250. And the sermon, I don't remember who the preacher was, but he preached. I'm going to read the verse and that he used for a text, and I'm going to tell you the title of his verse, the title of his sermon. And the verse was in Genesis 13:1. It says, "And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had with him. And all that he had, and Lot with him into the south." Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had. And the title of his sermon was, "Have we got all that we started out with?" And I thought, man, I can just imagine what that sermon what it must have been about. But that's a thought that just I couldn't get it out of my head. Have we got all that we started out with? And Brother Ernie asked me a couple of weeks ago to preach tonight, and God, I felt like He laid this on my heart about if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? And so I'm tying this in together with what that brother preached 40 years ago in a few months, 40 years and a few months ago. And have we got all that we started out with? And so my thought along those lines is, are we still really standing on the foundation that we started out on, which is Christ Jesus? Are we standing on that bedrock? Are we standing on the Word of God? Is the ground beneath us still stable? Have you ever thought back to the days that you got saved, back in the early days that you got saved, of the joy that you had, the newness that you felt, just knowing that this relationship that had been broken between you and God was now fixed, and it's like, Lord, I'll do anything that you want me to do. I'll go anywhere that you want me to go. Lord, I'm fine, oh Lord.
That's right. That's right.
All the goods that you had the day that you got saved, did you drop anything on the way? Did you have a thief come up and take some of your sheep or take some of your cattle? Did you have a thief come up and take anything away from you? Are you still standing on that foundation? Still got it? Still got it. Well, there's an enemy that wants to take it from you.
That's right.
There's an enemy that wants to take it away from you. He wants to take it away from us. He can't hurt the foundation. He can just try to tempt us off of it. He can attempt to shake us off of it. He can try to remove us from it. Try to woo us from it. Try to scare us off of it. But that rock is solid. Stay on it. That rock is a sure foundation. Stay on it. Through this cliff, right on the seaside, and the waves were just raging, and the wind was blowing, and it looked like just nothing but turmoil. Y'all, have you ever seen that? You know what I'm talking about? And you look, and you take a little closer look, and inside this rock is a hollowed out area, is a cleft, and there's a bird just at peace, because that bird is safe and sound on the rock, in the rock. We're safe.
Amen.
Jesus said, build your house on the rock. He that heareth my sayings and doeth them is like unto a man who built his house on the rock. And the rains came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, because it was founded upon a rock.
Yes.
Beat vehemently upon that house, and it fell not.
Yes.
Christ is that rock. It's
Yes.
solid.
Yes.
When you want to build something major, when you go to lay the foundation, I guess they've got ways that they can fill in things, and they can kind of fabricate a foundation, but I'll tell you what you want is bedrock. You want to get on that rock. You want to hit that rock. You want to start it off on that rock, because it ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
It's not moving. If the foundations be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? We have nothing to stand on if we're not on the foundation.
That's right.
If we're not on the rock, we don't have a thing to stand on.
That's right.
We don't have a leg to stand on if we're not standing on the rock. But if we're standing on the rock, let the winds blow, let the rains come, let whatever may be come. If we're on the rock, we're safe.
That's right.
Have you ever heard of the Grand Canyon Skywalk? Have you heard of it? Raise your hands if you've heard of it. Is there some that's never heard of it? You ever heard of it? Grand Canyon Skywalk? Google it. What it is, it is a tourist attraction that they built. It's on some tribal land. They go through a lot of law, and the tribe, I don't remember the tribe, the name of this Indian tribe at the Grand Canyon, that they own this property, but they come to an agreement and they allow and come together and build this thing. It's called a skywalk, and it goes out over the Grand Canyon. Over the edge of the Grand Canyon, it's shaped like a horseshoe. And it dangles out there 70 feet.
Wow.
And it's just a walk that walks around. Only the platform that you walk on is glass. So you walk out on this thing, and it's like you're walking out on air. I was looking it up this afternoon. That's how I can give you some specifics here. 4,000 feet below is the Red River. That's nearly a mile. 5280 is a mile. 4,000 feet below. And there's people walking out there. I think it's 35 feet wide, but it's shaped just like a horseshoe. Goes out over the edge of the Grand Canyon, and it's dangling out there on nothing. People get the wildest ideas. Who thought this up? I don't know. But it's a lot of tourists going out there too. But they started to contemplate how they're going to do this. We're going to build this. They're trying to figure out how they could get a foundation solid enough to where it would be safe. And they said it'll hold 71 million pounds. That it's safe. And I wouldn't trust it. And you know, they said, wait a minute. What's this we're standing on? Let's do a study on the ground. And it's red limestone is what it was. And they could not find anything more solid, more safe than the ground that they were standing on, because it was red limestone. It was bedrock. I mean, this was solid. So what they done was 16,000 pounds an inch is what they'll hold in a compression test. It was solid, so they said, all right, if we can drill holes, we'll just build it right into the ground, right into the foundation, right into this rock. I looked it up. They don't give you too much statistics, but they say at its thickness that it's 800 feet thick. A rock 800 feet thick. That's a foundation that's not going to move.
That's right.
And so that's what they did. They went 46 feet into that rock straight down to tie it all down. I trust standing on the foundation. But getting out there on that platform is a whole other story for me.
That's right.
I wouldn't trust it. I think I'd trust a helicopter before I would trust that. They've got another one just like it, or similar to it, a glass bottom, only it's a bridge over in China, and it's about 5 football fields long, and it's about 1,000 feet high, 900 and something feet high. And they built this, and it just opened this past year. They were expecting, and it's got a glass bottom, and they were expecting 8,000 visitors a day. After 13 days, they had to shut it down because they were overwhelmed with idiots. I mean, with visitors. If I was on it and I looked down, what I'd be calling myself? An idiot. What am I doing out here? It's kind of funny. You can watch the YouTube videos of them going across it. It's a tourist attraction of them going across that bridge. And I would be a sight like them. There's some of them. Now, there's some people just strolling across and just looking. And I mean, that's all you see. Like you're walking on thin air or just walking right in the air. And there's some of them, and this is how I would be. They're crawling and they're hanging on to everything that they can hang on to. There's one, it's a guy, and he's got two girls on either side of him, and he's got his arms around him, and he's walking, they're guiding him off of it with his eyes closed. With his eyes closed. And there's some that's crawling. Well, that is how I would be. That is how I would be. Brother Ernie preached Wednesday night. I think it was Wednesday night from Psalm 61. And it's one of my favorite passages. It says, Psalm 61 verse 2, it says, "From the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I." And I'm not really, I guess I'm trying to be funny, but I'm really just telling you the truth. If I got out on that skywalk and I looked down, I promise you, my heart literally, I would be overwhelmed. My wife would be embarrassed. She'd be ashamed of her husband, acting like a baby crawling around on a skywalk. But I would be praying, "Lord, lead me to the rock that is higher than I," and I'll be finding my way back to that solid red limestone, that solid foundation that this thing is built on, because that I trust. Standing out here dangling, living a risky life, putting myself in jeopardy, I don't feel so comfortable, I don't feel so confident that if I could just make it back to that rock when my heart is overwhelmed within me, then my heart cries, "Lead me to the rock that is higher than I." And I'll tell you, I don't have to get on a skywalk to feel overwhelmed like that.
That's right.
But I know one thing. As long as I can make it to that rock, I know it's all right.
That's right.
As long as I can stand on that rock, I know that it's all right. And if I end up like that little dove that is in the hollow of that rock, that my heart can get overwhelmed standing right on the rock, but then when I come to realize I can be safe afraid, or I can be safe at peace, either way, I know this, that as long as I'm on the rock, I'm safe, safe, safe.
That's right. That's right.
That's how precious that rock is. That's how precious that rock is. Lead me to the rock. That rock is stable. I don't want to stray off of it. Like the preacher said back in 1976, where are you standing? Are you standing where you was the day you got saved? I mean, is your ground still the same? I hope that we're doing better than we was however long ago it was for each of us. But you can't build any other foundation. You can't lay any other foundation. That what got you saved that day, that's what's going to get you all the way to heaven. There's not a new way. There's not a fabricated foundation that's going to get it.
No. That's right.
It's that rock.
That's right.
That which is laid.
Yes.
That rock is precious to us.
Amen.
Staying on that foundation is everything to us. And I'm telling you tonight, I'll tell you tonight, that our preacher, he faces it. Maybe some face it harder than others, I don't know, but the enemy will be shaking him, trying to get him off that foundation. And I know that this goes without me saying of how important it is that we stand on that foundation. And I'll tell you, as a fellow Christian, how important it is that we stay on that foundation. How important it is, I think, that we arm up and say, we're going to stay on the foundation. You keep preaching, Brother Ernie. It don't matter if you don't think that we're smiling. It doesn't matter. Maybe we need a little conviction. You stay on that foundation. We need that foundation.
That's right.
We need it.
That's right.
We need it. What do we do? What do we do? I face it. Oh, my enemy is not really even visible. It's one that we can't see with our eyes. Thank God we can see that foundation with our eyes.
That's right.
Can we really lose it? Can we get away from the foundation? We can, and people do. People get off of that foundation. Maybe sometimes it happens unintentionally, but it happens. And some people find themselves off of that foundation because of many different reasons, but it happens. I sometimes wonder, do we have what we ought to have? Genesis chapter 26, and I'm fixing to close, but in Genesis 26 and 17, and Isaac departed thence. Isaac is the son of Abraham. And he pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water. Now listen to this. And Isaac digged again the wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham, his father. What happened? For the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. In other words, he lost something that his father had already laid. He lost something precious, something necessary, something with life-giving substance that his father had already prepared. Isaac didn't throw it away, but somehow the enemy came in and messed it up. Does that happen? It happens. I love the old stories. What's that preacher's name? That little short guy who used to get all, went skipping across the pews.
Brother Cecil Garrison.
Brother Cecil Garrison. Don't you like stories like that? I do too. I love them old stories. And that's what I mean. Sometimes I wonder, are we standing on the same foundations that's got us to today? Are we really living in the fullness? Are we really enjoying the blessings? Are we really walking in the full assurance of salvation to where we say the Lord may come back today, and we say, I'm surprised He hadn't already come back, but I'm ready for it.
That's right.
The angel of the Lord came to Gideon and said, Gideon, thou mighty man of valor, the Lord is with thee. You know what Gideon said? He said, if the Lord is with us, where are all these miracles that we've heard of our fathers? What's changed? That's what he said. Told the angel, we've heard how that God brought us out of Egypt. all of those things that He done right through the Red Sea. If God is with us, what's happening? He was right too. He was right. They weren't on the foundation. They were not following God. They had let down. They had let go of some things. They were not earnest. They were off the foundation. They were in a pitiful shape. That's what happens when you get off the foundation. But when you're on the foundation, it doesn't matter what comes your way. Because God is strong in your life. You're not unstable. But it happens. Here's the wonderful thing. God has not changed in 2017. God is still the same God that He was back in 1920.
That's right.
He's the same God that He was back in 1940.
Yes.
And the God that brought joy back in the 1950s, He's still here.
That's right.
He is not diminished one iota. Thank God for the foundation. Thank God for the foundation. It's dear to us and it's precious to us. I want to stay on that solid rock. I'm going to turn over Brother Ernie.